Hi, Rachel.
Hi, I will go ahead and get us started today. Hi, Diana. On a personal note, I just want to say hi to everyone. It's been a while since I have had the opportunity to interview. So I am so excited to be back. I'm in the association with a new company, Greenway Waste and Recycling. So be on the lookout for that and look forward to seeing my face now along with Melissa doing our Zoom interviews while we all kind of navigate this. So bear with me if there's any hiccups, but thank you all so much for watching. And today we are talking with Diana Pittro from RMK Management. So Diana, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us today. If you want to start telling us a little bit about your title in your company, I'm really interested to hear about it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Rachel. I was really excited about this interview, so thank you guys for asking me. And congratulations on Greenway. I was at a property that I was shopping for one of our award ceremonies last year, and I loved the program. I even
Yay,
have some of your information, so congratulations.
thank you.
Um, I have been with the RMK Corporation for about 20 years. Prior to that, I was with some larger management companies. So I've been in the business longer than I want to say on public TV or public social media posts. But I love my job. RMK is a Midwest management company. We have properties in Wisconsin, Indiana, Minnesota, and Illinois.
Okay.
We are currently around 7,000 units. As most of you know, when you do fee management, that number goes up and down every year, depending on what owners decide to sell or buy. But right now, we're at about 29 properties. I love the fact that I am with a company that is family owned because our corporate philosophies are very much in tune with what makes me work more efficiently, which is we're all a family. We're all in it together. So that makes me really excited about where I'm at.
I think that's probably more important now than it's ever been. So
I, I agree. I agree, Rachel.
good. And how did you get into the industry?
You know what? If I talk to a lot of people of my age group or people that got into this business maybe 10 or 15 years ago, we really got into it accidentally.
Hmm.
As you know, it's only been the last decade where property management has been considered a viable education, degreed career path. Prior to that, there were a lot of people that got into it quite by accident, and I did the same thing. I went to work as an administrative assistant for a very large company, which I will not mention. As the chairman of the board's administrative assistant, I spent 5 years there and got into it from that angle. And one day decided, geez, I think I could do that.
Yeah.
So I started interviewing, and lo and behold, I got to be a property manager. I was a property manager at the time, though, when you did a little bit of everything.
Hmm.
They didn't have the same kind of software and technology as we do now. So I mopped floors when the janitor was out. I did landscaping when the landscaper didn't show up. I did the books, I did the renewals, I did the leasing, and I did the managing. And I think that gave me the work ethic that I have today and the appreciation for what it takes when my teams have to do this because I
Sure.
spent 4 years doing it.
Hmm.
So I'm a good snow shoveler. I'm good at the books. I can tell people how to close. And I figured out most of the technology we need to use right now, although not all of it.
So, and you're based out of Chicago, so I'm guessing that that snow shoveling probably still comes in handy sometimes.
I did it in Pennsylvania for like 2 months. It's kind of funny because when you work around the country and people that have more of a national presence probably have more to say. But I had never worked in Pennsylvania. So the first snowstorms was like a half an inch and nobody came to work. And I'm like, hello, where's everybody at? I'm here. I got the
Yeah.
shovel. Is nobody coming to work? Well, they don't have the same kind of plowing. They don't use salt. All my people stayed home. And I'm like, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
So that's how I learned the hard way.
Oh, goodness. Well, that sounds like a pretty memorable experience, but do you have a most memorable story from your time in the industry that you want to share?
I have to tell you, when you're working with people you have so many emotions and so many behaviors that I probably could get together with about 5 or 10 of my friends, and we could fill a book in less than a month because every day is a new story. I mean, the one that I laugh about the most is the resident who happened to be an elderly lady. And for a month, she swore somebody had a goat on their patio. And of course, I went over there every day looking for a goat on this patio. And I never found it. Well, one weekend I was at the property and I'm driving around. And because she was kind of a squeaky wheel and needed a lot of hand holding, I thought I'm going to go by her apartment and just see. Well, the person on the patio, 2 patios above her, had a lop-eared rabbit that had its little ears hanging out the railings and its little nose. And I guess from her perception on the first floor, when she looked up, she saw a goat. So this was before cell phone cameras. So I knocked on her door right then and there. And of course, she was so embarrassed. All she did was bring me goodies for a month after that because she made such a fuss about seeing a goat. But you know what? There are many, many stories. Everybody could write their own book, I'm sure.
That's so funny. We used to talk about how we can't believe when I was on site, we could have our own reality show. I don't think people would believe all the things that
You
you
could.
encounter and hear every day. It would be pretty entertaining, I think. So sooner or later that might happen.
Well, and you know, when people live in communal living, everybody's habits are different, their behaviors are different. And what some people find offensive, other people don't even think about. So you end up playing mediator all the time. I mean, our poor managers, 90% of their job is taking care of the residents and the prospects. So it's funny. We could get some good stories going.
I think to the outside world, outside of multifamily, there are just so many unspoken skills that
Yeah.
are required for this job in this industry that people just don't really know until you actually do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what advice or perspective would you want to share with the next generation of people coming into this industry?
Oh, I love my young people. I tell you, I have separate committees within our company because I like to get everybody involved. And my young people are so creative. They are heads above myself when it comes to thinking of things and finding the technology and the way to do it. I'll just throw the idea out there and I'll say, okay, now how do we make this happen? So I love having them around and I love the balance that it gives my company because we have multi-generations in our company and we feed off of each other in a good way. I would say what I tell them when I hire them, because I do like to interview almost everybody we hire. I may not always have time, but I do try. But if not, I try to get to that person. And the main thing is you have to have passion and love what you're doing. And our young people sometimes come out of the world and go into a career path that they think they're going to love, but after a while they sometimes don't. And so what I try to tell them is you have time, you have the ability, go into this thinking you're going to love it, but please, if you don't, then sit down and let's talk because things can be different today than what they were a year ago. Things can be different at each property with each person. And I find that sometimes they get impatient with progress of their career. They want to be CEO in year 5. And sometimes what I have to say to them is basically, do you like coming to work today? If you do, then let's move forward and we'll put you on a path. But you have to have a little patience with it because not all this is book learning. Not all this is under your degree, quote unquote.
Sure.
But I also encourage them if they have goals and I can't meet them, then let's find a way to get you to a place where you do have the ability to say, I love what I do. Most of our turnover is in the first 2 years, almost all of it. My assistant managers move up the ladder. My managers move up the ladder. I have very little turnover in those positions, but every year, of course, like most people in this industry, After the first year, you're realizing you're working a lot of weekends, you're working late hours, you're really hearing most of the complaints, not all the good news. And
Right.
someone's not able to pat you on the back for every single thing you do because the resident still might be upset and chew you out for something you didn't do. So I think there's a lot of glamour that they come in, or ideals that they come in with, that they need to be kind of supported as they're working through that first year with how that fits their lifestyle and their goals.
I love that. That's really great advice and kind of unique, and maybe something that people either take advantage of or don't really think about
So you're
until.
doing it. Yeah,
Sure.
it is. It is.
I love that. Great advice. So now we're going to learn a little bit more about you personally. Do you have a favorite book, or do you want to talk about the last book that you read?
I am embarrassed to say, but I like to read a lot of really fluffy romantic novels. I like them
Really
because
common answer.
they don't take any brain power on my part. They don't get me upset. They don't give me nightmares if I read them before I go to bed. When I travel, and obviously we haven't traveled this year, but I would always pick up one or two at the airport, and I'd manage to finish them on my trips.
Mhm.
Um, the last good book that was not a fluff piece was Becoming Michelle Obama. And I had read that because I wanted it for Christmas, so one of my kids gave it to me. But I enjoy reading. I am more of a hold it in my hand kind of reader, though.
Mhm.
I enjoy reading our industry pieces. I put them all to the side, and when I sit outside in the nice weather, I click through all my pieces.
Mhm.
But I am more a reader of romance novels just for relaxing.
And that's what reading really should be for. If you're doing it as a hobby, you want it to be
Yeah,
something that is relaxing and bringing you some peace.
yeah,
What about some
exactly.
other hobbies? What else do you like to do with your free time?
I love to bike ride. I do a lot of bike riding on the weekends and during the week. It's like my break. As you know, being in Illinois, I have no water around here because I don't live in the city along the lake. But I find water, walking, and biking, relaxing to me. So if I
Mm.
can walk along the lakefront sometimes, or I can ride my bike, or I can do something like that, I'm sort of more of that kind of exercise person. I don't jog well because I'm clumsy.
Same.
I'm very clumsy for whatever reason. I'm concentrating on too many things and I trip or I miss a light or something. So I'm more of a biking person and a walking person.
Very
And
cool.
obviously with our jobs, we all get a lot of walking.
Well, we get our
So
steps in for sure.
yeah, we get our steps in. I got my little watch and we keep track of our steps and our miles. So, but
It's the
that's
best when you
basically,
don't even realize how much you've done and then you look and you think, wow, I had a good day. I didn't
I
even
know I was so proud of myself when I first got it. I thought, well, I'm just walking up a storm. And then I thought, hey, wait a minute, this is normal. You got to do more than this. Shot that goal right in the head.
So, what about a favorite food or restaurant? I know that you are not here in Cincinnati, so fill
No,
us in about some good restaurants where you are.
um, basically, I think Italian is my favorite, although having worked in Philadelphia for 5 years, I love Philly cheesesteaks.
Hmm.
And I have to admit, we don't get many good ones in Chicago. So there's probably one or two places that I like, but I think Italian's probably my favorite. Probably my favorite.
Is there like a great local spot where you are, or do you like to eat it?
I'll tell you, there are a couple of local restaurants. My husband and I like to, we like to keep our business in the town we live in. We like to walk
Sure.
to the restaurants or keep it that way. I mean, we do go to chains, but there's a couple of places that are local, and we tend to frequent them more often, just
Hmm.
because I think it's nice to give them the business. I don't want them to go out of business the way everything is going. So there's a couple of them that have Italian names that I would probably kill if I had to say them, but um, one is Nono's and one is Francesca's, but they're very local, very family run.
Those
So
are usually the best spots
I
too, as far as
know, I
food goes.
know. And sometimes when I go into a new city, I know everybody, especially people at NAA and in our industry, we always eat, we always drink, we always enjoy each other, and that's great. But sometimes I like to take a small group and we just walk around and find the places that are within, a mile of the hotel that we're staying at. And you kind of take one night or two nights and just sit and watch the local flavor and enjoy something that's, might not be a chain or might not be on the 5-star list, but that's
Sure.
kind of the way I like to enjoy it when I travel too.
That's great. I mean, really taking advantage of the opportunity to go to these different cities and kind of engross yourself for a day or two. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So do you have any pets?
I have a bulldog named Sadie.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, and she's not real old. I had another bulldog that was deaf, and that was Blue.
Oh,
So we learned sign language to take care of the deaf
wow.
bulldog. But that kind of turned me on to bulldogs. They're funny animals. My goodness, they are so clumsy. And, their head gets ahead of their bodies and they roll all over. And so she's really hysterical without even knowing that she's hysterical.
Yeah.
We've always had dogs, so we've always had a pet.
Does she walk with you, or do
Oh,
you have
yeah.
a dog carry on your bike? What would be a good little
She's
attachment?
not very big, so she walks with us.
Mhm.
She weighs about 35 pounds.
Oh
My
yeah.
other one was more, about 65.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
but I think she's really a mutt because she's not as big and bulky as a normal bulldog. So
Sure.
she does pretty good walking. She enjoys it. She doesn't like her collar, but she enjoys it.
Yeah. So do you have any time to watch any TV, or do you have some favorite movies?
Oh, you know what, Rachel? In the summer, I just like to go home and sit outside and putz around in my yard,
I'm kind of the same.
sit on my swing. And to tell you the truth, in the summer, I watch very little TV.
I'm the same
Um,
way.
it just seems like when the weather is so nice, especially with this virus, you just appreciate the outdoors. Um, there's probably in the winter a couple things. I'm not a big reality TV show person. Again, I probably tend to just watch things that are series, like,
Mhm.
fluff piece here and there. I do
Sure.
watch Blue Bloods on Friday if we're home, because my husband loves Tom Selleck. Um, things like that. We like to watch the Chicago shows. There's a few Chicago
Oh yeah,
shows.
yeah.
Yeah, they're made in Chicago. So we're always going, well, where's that? Well, where's that?
That is
Um,
fun.
but not big TV watchers, especially in the summer.
Right. Same.
Yeah,
What about sports teams? I know you're close to a city with lots of
oh,
sports. Do you have a favorite?
I sure do. The Cubs, the Blackhawks, maybe the Sox. No.
Oh, okay.
I'm a big Chicago supporter.
Gotcha.
So, but the Cubs, the Bears, and the Hawks are my favorite. I,
Okay.
I do try to go to one or two games a year, take the kids and make it a family thing. My kids are grown, so I say kids, but loosely, they're adults. Um, but basically, I love my Bears and my Cubs.
That's
Just
awesome.
matter of fact, I
Now,
took down my Bears flag for this interview. It
oh,
was right over there,
oh.
but I thought it would look weird in the picture.
Now, forgive me on my ignorance. The Blackhawks, is that hockey?
That's hockey.
Okay.
Yes, and the Bulls are coming back, but the Bears and the Cubs and the Hawks are probably the teams that we try to see every year. And I
Hmm.
would say we religiously try to watch them on TV if we're home on a
Sure.
Sunday afternoon or whatever, or an evening. Yeah,
So, are you a concert person? Do you have a
love
favorite that you've ever
concerts.
been to?
Yes, love music. Country is my favorite. I've been to every Toby Keith concert in the local area.
Wow.
Um, I know some people disagree with his theories, but I love him. I also saw Elton John and Billy Joel at Wrigley Field, and that's because we were
Wow.
building across the street, so I was able to run over there and get a ticket. I love all kinds of concerts. I especially love, I think, the ones that are obviously outdoors. I have been to indoor concerts, but I think most of us would have to say we love the outdoor venue. We love getting together with friends, sitting on a blanket.
Yeah, that's the
Almost
best.
any occasion like that. I don't even care who I'm listening to as long as I'm outside and there's music.
Yeah. I
So
think for me, that's one of the things I'm missing the most
I
during all of this is
I
live
know.
music in the summer.
Well, and they have so much to do with, I mean, most places have concerts all summer and there's different types of music. So you can always find one or two that you'd love to see.
Sure.
And Wisconsin has a country festival, and Illinois has one. And if you miss them for that weekend, you can pick it up in another state, so it's only a short ride. So I mean, there's so much to do with our three states kind of connecting so easily. That I agree with you. That's the part I miss, because you're not going to the festivals where you get the Greek food. You're not going to the festivals where you get the punchkis, or you're
Right.
not getting the music,
Right.
or the Rib Fest. None of that this year.
Mhm.
So it's been a shock, I think, to everybody a little
I
bit.
think so too.
Yeah.
Sure. So here's one of our more interesting questions. If you were an animal, what would you be and why?
I'd be my dog because she's spoiled rotten.
I love that answer.
Geez, my parents never spoiled me the way this
Yeah,
dog is spoiled. Gee
they're so
whiz.
easy to spoil.
I
So
know.
appreciative, I think.
I know.
That's a great
I'd
answer.
have to come back as my pet, believe me.
And is there anything you'd like to share about your family?
Um, we come from I come from a blended family of six. My dad was a farmer and a coal miner, and I am a landowner of corn, which in
Oh, wow.
Chicago is unusual, but I have 75 acres of corn.
Well, that's
I
cool.
rent a farmer, so to speak. My husband and I are also from a blended group, and our three girls are 30 and 32 and 35, and they're totally non-toxic, self-independent, self-serving, work hard, and they make us proud every day. So I think when people talk about some of their turmoils that they have when they're combining two families, I
Mhm.
have to look at it and say, I guess my parents did a great job, because the six of us are close as ever, and
Mhm.
our girls are doing great. You just got to
Good.
love them and support them and realize they're all different, and love them around that for their good parts and their bad parts.
That's
So,
awesome. I think that's one of many definitions of success is
yeah.
how happy your kids are and how
Yeah.
self-sufficient they are.
Well, all three of them, ironically, have worked for our company at one time or another.
Cool.
And so sometimes there's a little bit of that challenge when you have family members, but we are a family company. But
Mhm.
it's funny, my oldest one, who was working for us at a time when she was going to college, had a little trouble being on time. So long story short, I had to say to the manager, look, this isn't going to work. You're going to have to let her go. And he was horrified. He said, I'm going to let the boss's daughter go. I said, well, if you don't, the boss is going to let go of you, because she's not
Oh,
getting here to do her job. And
yeah.
she thought it was funny, and she went out and got another summer part-time job, but
Yeah,
it taught her a lesson. But the
sure.
other two, because she was the oldest, oh my gosh, they were diligent, on time, dedicated. And actually, my youngest one has been with the company 13 years.
Oh,
Uh,
how cool.
yeah, she started out as human directional as a chicken,
Oh my gosh. This
and
is
she was 14, so now she's a manager. And I think that small gesture with my oldest one probably paved the way for the other two.
absolutely.
So, she went on and they both did their educating and stuff, but she's actually in the industry. And I know sometimes she probably feels like it's a little bit of a double-edged sword,
Mhm.
but they're all good kids that have a job, and they all have a great life, and they've done it on their own basically. So just
That's
took a
great.
lot of loving.
Maybe we'll interview her sometime and we'll get to hear her
Yeah,
her
she'll
side
probably
of the
say, "Oh
story.
my God, my
Yeah.
mother does this."
What about any vacations that you've taken that have been the
Oh,
best ones or a favorite spot you like to visit?
you know what? We do a family vacation every year, and I do a girls' weekend with my girls, and it used to be my mother. So those trips went by the wayside this year because of the virus. I'm hoping that we get back on schedule, but I look forward to those family trips, whether it's a long weekend or a whole week. But it kind of doesn't matter where we go. We just laugh and
Hmm.
giggle, and we have the whole year to make memories. And we look forward to the next one. And considering they're in their 30s, I keep waking up going, well, one of these times they're going to say, we don't want to go with you.
Oh,
Uh, you know, but we try to go places that everybody enjoys, and we do things. So I think those are the best ones. I mean, I don't I have goals where I'd like to go. I'd love to go
mhm,
to Italy or Greece,
mhm.
um, but I have to say I also enjoy going to Wisconsin if I have my kids with me. So
I've
there
heard
are,
it's beautiful there. I've heard
I
from some
know.
people it's just beautiful.
Well, hopefully. that'll be on my bucket list after this virus and all the travel bans are over with.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are just going to be
Just waiting.
to get out. Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you don't watch a ton of TV, or we didn't really talk about movies, but is there a character out there that you would be if you could?
I want to be a Disney character. They're all happy. Most of them are pretty happy.
Yeah.
They all have, they all have a nice little life. They have their hardship and then they end up happy in where they want to be. So again, it probably goes back to the very simple movies that make me happiest the most.
Sure.
So I would probably say Disney's always been one of my favorite movie generator.
Yeah.
I still have the movies
popular for a reason. So
Yeah.
it's because they kind of
Yeah.
quickly sum up our life stories.
And I'm embarrassed to say I still watch the Disney movies, even though my grandkids and my kids aren't around. I still watch them on my own. So
I think you are not alone in that either.
there we go. I feel better now.
we're going. I have two girls, and they're showing Coco at the drive-in in a couple weeks.
Oh,
and
yes.
I'm as excited as they are because that's such a good one. And
it is. And the drive-in, oh my gosh, I'm thrilled those are coming back.
Yeah.
I told my husband, we got to go to the drive-in. We haven't been there since we dated.
Yeah.
Now we have a different motive, but let's go.
Yeah. That's so funny. And I think you've already shared so many interesting details, but is there any other ones or any fun off-filter stories you want to share about yourself?
I don't. I love being in this industry. I love my job. I love the friends I have made through NAA. That's how I know people at Kentucky and Cincinnati, Don and Mark and everybody. And I think being part of this industry and this association gives you a chance to grow, but also share so much good information. I'm always amazed at the camaraderie and the bonds we have.
Yeah.
That makes my life so much happier and so much easier.
Yeah. I agree completely. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
I appreciate it.
It's funny, in almost every interview that I've done, we always come full circle to talk about the value of these associations and the networking and the education, because it's so true. And I think that so many of us really passionately just get so much out of it. And today I made a new friend, so thank you for that.
There you go. Well, thank you. I am very, very honored that you guys asked me. I'm so excited about doing this.
We appreciate it so much. Stay safe.
You too, Rachel. Take care.
Good talking to you. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.